friends, welcome in this session, another session of One Day One Answer. This is a series by GS Score. We are doing almost you can say for the last 4 or 5 years a daily answer writing. So now in today's session we'll talk about or we'll take one question from the Polity. So we are doing or covering the entire PYQ, or you can say the entire theme of the PYQs in this daily answer writing session. So we'll do apart from the PYQ also, but the prime idea is basically this time to cover all the important themes of you can say the PYQs, and through PYQs you can have a fair understanding about the concepts, building the concepts also, and how to approach. The reason is not simply about the answer writing. I always say, or you can say that one word which I almost repeat in almost my session, whether it is class or this session, that answer writing or mains is basically is all about expression. It's expression is skill, expression is output. So it's not simply about writing some information and all. It needs more than the information. And through this entire series, we are trying to help you to understand what is mean by it, how to practice it, and how to improve. Because giving lecture is always very easy, but the issue is basically how do you hold the hand of the candidates and in which timeline how they are improving. So let's come to the point. Now we are taking paper 2. Previously we'll talk about the paper 1. जो इससे पहले के सेशंस थे, हमने पेपर 1 के क्वेश्चंस लिए थे, which was more factual. Now I'm taking paper 2 from you can say the Polity section, question from the Polity section. Interestingly, if you look at your preparation, you will find that for the last in the last 10 years, when the new scheme of things was introduced in 2013, from there onwards you will find that paper 2 barely you can say perform very well. पेपर 1 भी मार्क्स ठीक ही आ जाते हैं, कभी कभी ख़राब आए. पेपर 4 में फ्लक्चुएशन बहुत है. बट इंटरेस्टिंगली इफ़ यू लुक एट योर प्रिपरेशन यू विल फाइंड दैट मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम यू गिव टू द पॉलिटी ऑन द पेपर 2. अगर पूरे साल के प्रिपरेशन में देखो तो 2-3 ऐसे सब्जेक्ट्स हैं जिस पे आप सबसे ज़्यादा टाइम देते हो. डिस्पाइट दीज सब्जेक्ट्स आर और यू कैन सी दीज पेपर्स आर नॉट वर्किंग. सो लेट्स अंडरस्टैंड इट. सी दिस क्वेश्चन. So the question is very straightforward, but interestingly, it's very easy when you read this question, but demands very good perspective. So the question says, the Constitution of India is living instrument with the capabilities of enormous dynamism. It is a constitution made for a progressive society. It is a statement, and then it goes like this: illustrate with a special reference to the expanding horizons of the right to life and personal liberty. So any book that you read, definitely you read Article 21. आप Article 21 तो पढ़ते ही हैं, which is all about the right to life. But what happens in you can say the paper like 2 or the paper like 4, most of the questions you cannot meet the demand by understanding its apparent meaning alone. I repeat my sentence. In paper 2, paper 4, you cannot meet the demand of the question by merely reading the apparent meaning. If you look at the questions of you can say the geography or economy, so there is no much underlying sort of thing, though analysis is involved everywhere, but some extra caution. You can say you have to be very extra cautious in certain areas like polity, governance, paper 4, society, which hardly you take very seriously, but then okay, fine. So this is the question. Now let's move to the another part that we call it concept. So first we will understand the concept, and then we will go for, you can say anything. So what is the idea is basically that every day we'll talk about one topic, one theme, and then we'll give you the question on the similar theme, and then you have to practice it, submit it, all the descriptions are given in the you can say, or the detail in the description box. As far as question of today's question is concerned, you will get it in the comment section itself. It is pinned there. Fine. So you go to that section, you will find the entire detail of you can say how you can participate, engage with us. So let's come to the point. So what we are doing, first we used to discuss the concept, and then we discuss a structure, and then you go for practice. So this is how we have designed this to touch the entire PYQ. So let's come to the point again. So to understand it, let's understand it through the keywords which is mentioned in the question. Keywords mentioned in the question, or you can also say the key concepts mentioned in this question. Fine. And so accordingly we can go ahead. Fine. So the first thing first, it says Constitution of India is living instrument. Fine. Living instrument is the first thing first. So when you say living instrument, this phrase characterizes the Constitution as adaptable and capable of meeting the demand of evolving societies, progressive societies. So it's no more, you can say, the static. This is what the apparent meaning is. We'll go in the little bit more detail about it. Fine. So basically what it tries to you can say that it's not merely a static legal document, rather than you can say the living Constitution is interpreted in the light of the emerging or evolving requirement, societal needs, in the light of the Constitution values. Fine. So with that, it remains effective in the modern context, so that it remains effective, purposeful in the contemporary or the modern context. So the general meaning of the living instrument is very simple. Fine. So another keyword, it is written capabilities. Number one, capabilities of enormous dynamism. Capabilities of enormous dynamism. What does mean by it? Fine. It is also important that whether the Constitution has the inherent capacity to be dynamic and flexible or not. So if it is very rigid, and for everything you have to require the amendment, then it's not flexible. Because every time you cannot go for you can say change through the amendment. The amendments are required, but for everything, every time, every day, you don't rush for the amendment. So it's also very important that in the light of that, how much flexible it is and how much dynamism it has, so that it can accommodate through the judicial interpretation. So that's very important. Fine. In the light of the broader principles, and that happen in the specific cases also. Fine. So this is the second keyword which is mentioned, and you need to be a little bit careful about it. Fine. Third is, here it is written that the Constitution made for a progressive society. Progressive society simply means that any society that aims for continual improvement in civil, political, social, economic rights, conditions, etc. It has a very simple meaning when it says progressive society. And then the another part is illustrate with a special reference to expanding horizon of the right to life and personal liberty. Right to life. So the another point is very interesting, expanding horizon. Expanding horizon simply means broadening the scope. Now why I am focusing on the keywords? Because whenever questions are not of very factual or questions are not very designed on the, only on the factual information, then it becomes very, very important that how do you interpret the each and every keyword which is mentioned. Keyword does not mean simply one or two keyword which is or you can say the concept around which the entire question revolves. So these keywords basically help you to get the content right, get the context right, and also these keywords helps you to you can say get the reference also, reference point to think. Now when you are practicing now, you don't have to go for a very speed on, you don't have to rush for that. Be very cool, calm, composed, take time, practice it. So with that first qualitatively you are you can say improving. So this is how you should think about it, fine. And so expanding horizon, and then comes the right to life and right to liberty. In the sense, it's talking about Article 21. Article 21, fine. So Article 21, when you say right to life, right to life. So right to life basically talks about the quality of the life. So there are several cases. It started from Menka Gandhi to, you can say, in the several cases, court has interpreted this, what is mean by right to life and what is mean by the quality into it, dignity into it. And so it includes so many things, so many things. Now you will find that it talks about the health talks about the environment. The cases of the sexual harassment is basically talks about the personal liberty in the sense related to the women. Then you will find that when it comes to the euthanasia, it's also reference is taken from the Article 21 because it's all about the dignity, fine, to live with the dignity. So anyone who is in the vegetative state for the long time and life is not worth living, he or she considers it that, then the basically the whole interpretation of this dignity comes out of this Article 21. So there are several cases you will find, several cases. So whether it is in the field of the education, health, fine, privacy, sexual harassment, euthanasia, there are so many things which derives from the idea of the quality of life, quality of life. Now why it is considered as you can say not merely the machine but much more than that, because the inherent consideration and the basic philosophy behind the right to life or the several cases is that human beings are not just biological created. It's not just biological created, it's much more than that. When you say, when you consider this philosophy, when you say it's much more than that, so you need opportunity, you need a dignified life, you need quality, you need autonomy, etc. So this is the basic framework in which the further detailings are done of the Article 21. Fine. So you read a lot of things, fine. But the question is basically what is the core guiding principle behind that? जो detailing है उसके पीछे. So this is the you can say the key interpretation here. Fine. Now the very another concept which is involved in this question is basically about the core principles of the living constitution. Because mind it, this question is not merely about the Article 21. It's basically a relation with this. So you will have to understand this carefully, and then the relation, and then question comes the limitations of it and implications of it. Interestingly, you will find that students used to get edge over this. It's not directly written in the question. So most of the candidates will talk about the flexibility, adaptability, fine, judicial interpretation, etc. But it has some limitation. This adaptability or capability and flexibility has some limitation. Fine. At the same time, you will have to also talk about the implications of certain things, whether in terms of the privacy or you can say the overall quality of life. You can give illustration of right from you can say the clean air to the midday meal scheme to the sexual harassment cases to the privacy and all. Fine. So let's come to the point, core concept. So when we say the core principle of a living constitution, the first thing first is basically the adaptive interpretation. Adaptive interpretation. Fine. So adaptive interpretation means what? Adaptive interpretation means that you will have to understand the current context. Current context. So this context may be societal norms or some other expectations. Some other expectations. Fine. So judicial interpretation and application of constitutional provisions always evolve in that light itself. जब भी evolve करेगा तो उस light में ही evolve करेगा. Number one. Number two, when it says that you can say the living constitution, second point is dynamic application. Dynamic. And third very important is progressive realization. How it helps to achieve the goal, the objective, the purpose. So these are certain things, and for example, it's not true only about the India, the other part of the world also. Look at the US, look at the Canada. If you read the Living Tree Doctrine is basically is all about this only. Fine. Canada का जो charter है Living Tree, तो वो बात ही यही करती है कि साहब Constitution is like the living tree, that it has its natural growth. Fine. And the capacity also to grow. Capacity also to grow. Fine. It has some limitations also. Limitation in the sense, जो interpretation है, वो judicial overreach का case नहीं हो सकता, क्योंकि वो it's a very thin line ना, interpretation and judicial overreach. तो ये नहीं हो सकता कि आप interpretation में आप law making के area में घुस गए. So there is a limitation also this. Fine. Another is whatever you can say interpretation happens, it has to be within the you can say the realm of the democratic principles. Now, why it is not so frequent in terms of the changes, amendment, etc. Because always do remember that legal stability is also required. Also required. So every time something happens, and now and then, court doesn't jump into making a big changes. It never happens. It never happens. So always in the broader principle, but the issue is basically that also changes happen in the light of the legal stability. Legal stability. Historical context is another important in the light of which always the changes are or interpretation are done. Fine. So these are certain things which is expected from you to understand it. Now, if you look at the book of the Polity, which you read, generally you will find that the final details are there, but final details are generally in terms of the keyword, its meaning, etc. You will have to understand, you can say, certain significance, process, implications of everything that you read in this paper, so that accordingly you can meet the demand and you use the language which is essential for these type of questions. It's not simply about that you will you can say write about the Article 21. वो तो सभी लिखेंगे ना साहब, आप अकेले थोड़ी नहीं लिखोगे, वो तो सभी लिखेंगे. So the question is how you will get the edge over the others. आप edge कैसे लेंगे, किस बात का edge मिलेगा आपको, वो तो पर्सपेक्टिव का मिलेगा ना. You will get edge of perspective, clarity, logical correlation in answer writing, in answer. These days, for the last 4 or 5 years, there is so much of fashion to talk about the flow chart, diagram, etc. मैं हमेशा कहता हूँ diagram is like डब्बा. आपको डब्बा बनाने के मार्क्स कभी यूपीएससी नहीं देगा. मार्क्स हमेशा मिलेंगे उस डब्बे में डालते क्या हो, मीन्स कंटेंट. कंटेंट इज किंग, conceptual clarity is king. If that is not done, nothing is done. Nothing is done. So this is how you should think about it. Fine. Finally, and then you have to you can say go for the structure part. Fine. You can say the structure part. Fine. So as far as structuring is concerned, now it's you can say very easy here. So you should start with the structure of the answer with the basic introduction, where basic introduction you will talk in and around the living constitution, its purpose and its purpose. That's it. You can also talk about the relation between the living constitution and societal need. Fine. Society is dynamic, it evolves. And so you can establish that you can say the relation in the introduction. That's it. Fine. And then comes the broader interpretation. So you can talk about the first thing first, what is mean by the second point. You can talk about the expanding horizon, and link it to the capacity and the capabilities. Fine. So then you will have to talk about the quality of life, in the light of Article 21, and then come to quality of life and personal liberty. Fine. And then come to the interpretation of this. Take the help of certain cases, and that case, whether it is Menka Gandhi or the recent one. Fine. Then you can go for the limitations of these changes. Fine. And then you can conclude with the implications. Conclusion में आप implication के साथ conclude करें, because in these type of questions conclusion becomes very important. So this is how there are 4-5 points around which you will expand, you will write your answer, but make sure that whenever you write there is a logical correlation between the various points. It should not be broken. It should not be just certain piece of or certain details of merely Article 21. It should not be like that, because the question is not that. Fine. So this is how you should go. Just hit you can say the description box. There you will get all the details that how you can participate, how you can engage with us for this one day one answer initiatives. Just practice with us. We'll make sure that your engagement is helping you to improve, and at the same time you can cover your PYQ also. So this is all about today. Thank you.